Introduction. David's worst day. What do you do on the worst day of your life? It had been the worst day of David's life. We think it was the year 1012 BC and that David was 29 years old. In those 29 years, David had lived a life of adventure. When he was a teenage boy of about 15, the prophet Samuel came to his home in Bethlehem and anointed him as the future king of Israel. A few months later, young David was thrust into sudden fame when he killed Goliath, the champion warrior of the Philistines, in the valley of Elah. After his stunning triumph over Goliath, David left the sheepfolds of his father, Jesse, and became a member of the royal household of King Saul. Saul made David the commander of his armies, and David led the armies of Israel in one victory after another. As a daring young warrior, David became the national hero of the Israelites. But when the paranoid and neurotic King Saul became jealous of David's tremendous success and popularity and sought to kill him, David was forced to leave the royal household and roam the hillsides of Judea with his mercenary band of 600 men. For several years, David and his men fought the Philistines while expanding and securing the borders of Israel. During this time, as David waited for the fulfillment of Samuel's prophecy that he would be the next king of Israel, David and his men made the city of Ziklag in southern Judea their home. David and his family, along with David's men and their families, had been living in Ziklag for 1 year and 4 months, and not much had transpired. Ziklag was an interim place for David. It was not Bethlehem, the place of his beginning, nor was it Jerusalem, the place of his destiny. Ziklag was somewhere in between. We all spend some time in Ziklag. It's not where we came from, nor is it where we are going. It's just where we happen to be for a while. Ziklag is the place of patient waiting, located somewhere between prophecy and destiny. For David, life in Ziklag had been very uneventful, very ordinary, almost boring. Then it happened. David and his men had been away for a few days in Aphek, a 3-day journey from Ziklag. But now they were returning home. All of the men were eager to be home again, to see their wives and children, and to enjoy the comforts of home. As they drew near to Ziklag on the 3rd day, their conversation was light and happy, and their hearts were filled with an eager anticipation of being home soon. But as they drew near to the city, they noticed ominous columns of black smoke rising from the horizon. Their conversation stopped, and their pace quickened, as anxious thoughts raced through their minds. As the men rushed towards Ziklag, anxiety gave way to panic as the calamity that had befallen their city came into view. As the men entered the gates of Ziklag, they were horrified at what they saw. The city had been attacked, ransacked, and set on fire. Every home and every building had been reduced to a smoldering heap of rubble. Through the broken sobs of a few survivors, David was able to piece together what had happened. A raiding band of several thousand Amalekites, riding on camels, had attacked the city. They looted the wealth of the city, took the women and children captive, and then set the city on fire. As swiftly as they had come, they were gone, taking with them fortunes and families, and leaving Ziklag in ashes. This was the worst day of David's life. Think about how bad this day must have been. In one day, David lost it all. His possessions were stolen, his house was burned down, and his family was kidnapped. We have all had bad days, but have you ever gone bankrupt, watched your house burn to the ground, and had your family kidnapped by terrorists? All in one day? Yet this is exactly what happened to David on what must have been the worst day of his life. It raises this question: what do you do on the worst day of your life?